let's have a look. 71, that'll do for a start. Anybody else can watch it back. Okay, but if you're sharing this on Facebook, please give me 5 minutes after the broadcast to change the settings to public, because if you post my video while it's live, I'm afraid it is no viewable, because Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call them, is restricting me. I have to change the audience at the end of each show from friends and family to public. So give me 5 minutes before sharing this video, please. Now let's get this video underway. It's Indie Truck Davey out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. I'm on the naughty step today because I had something important to do this morning, so you didn't get the usual broadcast. So weather forecast, it's getting dark, it's cloudy, but it's sky warm at 14 degrees. You want to know the weather's like where you are? Look at your rain bloody windy. Alright, so let's get this special underway, the Clunkin Fist special. Now folks, you might not be aware of this, but Gordie Brown's big plans for constitutional reform to offer the Scottish people an alternative to independence was published yesterday. It was so underwhelming that none of the major broadcasters picked up on it. It was announced by Anas Sarwar here in Scotland, and it was heralded in England and ignored by Clunkin Fist, who is Gordie Brown, who is trying to re-establish himself as a Labour big beast. Now, he was asked to undertake this review. As I say, it was so underwhelming that none of the major broadcasters picked up on it, and the front bench of the Labour Party have bloody well ignored it. So what's in Gordie Brown's big plan to keep Scotland in the Union? Shall we go through it? Davy's made the usual Davy list. All right. So, what's in Gordie Brown's long-awaited review of constitutional arrangements for the UK? Vague promises of more economic powers for devolved nations by devolving more taxes to them. Okay, doesn't name the taxes, it's just a vague promise. Labour front bench didn't like that one right away. Okay, citizens to judge on misconduct incidents in Westminster. They want citizens panels to judge on their MPs when they have committed some sort of problem in the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers. He also wants reform to how MPs can be called. Okay, replace ministerial code with code of conduct, which MPs must follow. That won't fly. The ministerial code's been thrown under a bus, and Starmer, being a Tory, will not be dragging it back out from under that bus. He will also not be relinquishing the Henry VIII powers which the Westminster government has given itself. Okay. Abolish House of Lords to be replaced by citizens' assemblies, voted for by each devolved nation, and each of the devolved nations in the new Citizens' Assembly will have equal voice to each other, apparently. Okay, that won't fly either. The clue's in the name. Sir Comrade Starmer. Citizens' assemblies to propose legislation to go through the House of Thieves and Carpetbaggers. MPs are not going to relinquish that power to citizens' assemblies. They're just not going to. And political parties are elected on manifestos, which is supposed to shape legislation going forward. So what would be the point of political parties putting manifestos in front of the people? If the people are going to suggest what goes through as legislation in citizens' assemblies. But more importantly, the idea just wouldn't fly. You get 5 people on a table, never mind 100 in an assembly. You'll never get bloody agreement for the citizens on what's a good idea for legislation and what's no. Okay, a consent to diverge on policy areas such as transport, energy, and social security. We already have that. We don't do nuclear. We have different transport policies, and transport and infrastructure is already devolved. Social security, we've got powers out over already, and we are building a different social security system from the Westminster system with the well-being of the people at the heart of that safety net here in Scotland. So far, there's nothing in this bloody thing which would make the people of Scotland want to change their mind on forging their own path. But let's continue. Joint responsibilities for refugees and borders. Was that a suggestion on different immigration policy? Won't fly. Westminster's already stated they wouldn't give immigration. This was a joint committee, by the way, that stated this. Cross-party. They've already stated that they would not give powers over immigration to Scotland because they wouldn't give powers over immigration to Worcestershire Council. That's the view of the Scottish Parliament from Westminster. It's a county bloody council. Wow, there's nothing in it so far. I could not let this pass without you guys getting to know what twaddle the Labour Party is tropsing out here right enough. Because the mainstream media is not going to tell you, because they were so bloody underwhelmed with the proposals. So, borders' responsibilities to be devolved to the devolved nations. Now, there's much crap all your night, your life. Future vote on a proportional representation for UK elections. I'll quote David Cameron on this. The electorate in England and MPs in the Tory and the Liberal Democrat Party see this, even though the Liberal Democrat Party used to advocate for proportional representation. They see it as a move from Labour to try and gerrymander it so that they always win elections. Everyone else is mental. So it's not going to fly. No proportional representation, all right? A Council of Nations. The British Council, they're going to call it, where the Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish members will have an equal voice to the English members, apparently, and that would strengthen respect between the nations, apparently. We already have a British Council. By the way, the next line's absolutely crucial to that British Council of Equals. Westminster to retain ultimate control. In other words, when the four nations can't agree, then England sets the policy. Absolutely nothing so far to inspire. Nothing so far to make us want to say, there's nothing different in it at all. Where he proposes changes or proportional representation and devolving more tax powers, Labour front bench have already went, fuck off. Pardon my French. Shouldn't have thrown that line in there. Right, a legal requirement to settle policy disputes, whatever that means. Well, it means what I've just said before, ultimate control will remain in Westminster. Basically a veto in the British Council. Right, as for a legal requirement to settle policy disputes, in other words, overridden by Westminster. Because they're the ultimate legislator. Devolved nations to be funded in 3-year increments to ensure budget stability. Here's the problem, folks. That budget's still decided by Westminster. So whatever type of austerity it is, they'll decide how little the devolved nations get, and it'll be just how little over 3 years instead of over 12 months. No guarantee in there for the Barnett formula, by the way. So that's basically it. That was basically it. Now, let's have a quick recap. Vague promises of more economic powers for devolved nations by devolving more tax revenue. Citizens to judge on misconduct and by MPs in Westminster. Replace ministerial code with code of conduct. Abolish House of Lords, replaced with citizens' assemblies. Citizens' assemblies to propose, a citizens' second chamber, a senate. Citizens to propose legislation to go through the Westminster Parliament through citizens' assemblies. Permission to diverge on policy areas such as transport, energy, social security, agriculture. I forgot to mention agriculture. We already have the ability to do that now. Joint responsibility for borders and refugees. I've already said they're not going to do that. British Council of Devolved Nations and central government, where mutual respect and mutual voices should be heard. A lot of tosh. Future vote and proportional representation for UK elections. Westminster remains ultimate control. Legal requirement to settle policy disputes, whatever that means. It means Westminster retains ultimate control. Devolved nations to be funded in 3-year increments, controlled by Westminster and the Treasury. So there you go, folks. That's Gordie Brown's big ideas to keep Scotland in the Union. You can put in the comments whatever your thoughts on those are. But what my thoughts on them on it is this: twaddle, tosh, crap. It was so underwhelming. The BBC didn't pick it up. STV didn't pick it up. Sky hasn't picked it up. ITV hasn't bothered Bahookie with it. And today is probably me telling you that it's out because you probably didn't know. So Gordon Brown's clinking fists, long-awaited UK reforms for constitutional arrangements in the UK. That's it. Ultimately, Westminster retains control. As I say, you probably did not know that this report had been published by the Labour Party, because you had to go to the Labour website to find it. The Scottish Labour website to find it. As you know, I'm a bit of a geek. I troll these sites. So there you go. Yeah. Thank you, Stephen. That proves my point. Anybody else want to put a comment up saying whether they knew that this report had been released or no? There you go, Stephen Charlton. I didn't know a thing about it. I'm sure that will be absolutely echoed in the comments. Didn't they know? Didn't they know it had been published? Didn't they know? As I say, it's so underwhelming. It's absolute fish. Now, you can go onto the Labour website and see what Anna Sarwar has to say about it. But say, I've picked out the bulletin points from Gordon Brown's report. That is the bulletin points from it. Vague promise of more tax-raising powers for devolved nations. Ability to diverge in policy areas where we already have developed ability to diverge. You know, replace the House of Lords with a Senate, with equal amount of senators for each of the nations. Policies no made in the House of Lords, policies made in the Commons. Citizens' assemblies to propose legislation to go through the Westminster Parliament. You never heard of anything so crazy in all your life. So you get 5 blokes, 5 people around a table and talk politics. They're not going to agree on any legislative area at all. They'll all agree that making social security a better safety net, aye, but they won't agree on how to do it, so it won't happen. Absolute madness. There was one thing in there I do like the idea of, and that is that citizens' assemblies in each constituency judge on the MP's conduct. That wasn't a bad idea. The rest of it is twaddle. Absolute twaddle. As I say, it's so underwhelming that you guys probably didn't know about it, so that's why I'm on to tell you about it. So that's it, folks. Share this around. Okay. This is Gordie Brown's long-awaited constitutional reform, and that is the bulletin points from it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you didn't laugh too much. Yeah, if you weren't the yes yet, you're after reading his report. So there you go, folks. That's it. The long-awaited. It was published yesterday. Okay. by Christ, it was so underwhelming, it's been ignored by everybody, including the Labour Party. They took one look at it and shredded it. Bin. Oh, brilliant. And then this Sarwar bouncing about yesterday, heralding it, trumpeting it, talking about divergent policy. Shows you how little he knows about devolution. The guy's the leader of the Scottish Labour Party branch office along there in Holyrood, and he didn't know that social security, to a degree, agriculture, transport, and energy policies are different in the different nations. For example, we don't allow nuclear, we don't allow fracking. Similarly, absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Unbelievable. So, I've got work to go to shortly, folks. It's going to be a busy night. So, I had to come on, folks. I had to come on and talk about this. It was going to be part of my show today, but unfortunately, something come up I had to deal with. The other thing I'm going to say is, folks, I'm getting near burnout again. I don't know what. I'll need to take a break at some point. I've been broadcasting since 2016. I've been doing a daily show since 2017. I've had 4 weeks off since then. I've taken 4 breaks, four 1 week breaks for that period. What's that? 6 years. So it is getting harder to write each day. So I'll be taking a wee break at some time between now and Christmas. I won't be taking a break over Christmas. You know, Sarah and I do a Christmas Day special for all the yous who out there live on your own. Because Sarah and I are generally on our own at Christmas as well. So basically through choice. You know, you're working all year, you're knackered. You know. But at some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'll take a couple of days probably. Because it is getting 6 years is a long run. With only 4 weeks or 5 weeks of break. Daily broadcast is a long run. And then you throw in the 2 Davies show. I'm putting out 7 shows a week. It's quite hard. It's hard gone. So at some point the next few weeks, I'll probably take a long weekend, a Friday and a Monday off. Saying that, you know, I was off a day, but that wasn't because I wanted to be off. That's because of something else I did today. The other thing is, over the next few while, I've got a lot to be sorting out in my main personal finances. So I'll need to dedicate a wee bit more time to admin. So, but I'll give you notice of all that. The plan anyway is to be on Monday. All right, I'll be on Sunday. And all Jenny Ellis from Random Scottish History has agreed to join David and I on Sunday, so that should be interesting. Very interesting. Jenny's a lot of fun. Okay. Right, guys, time to round this one up. Thanks for tuning in. Give me a couple of minutes, Peter, on Facebook, to change this to public before you start sharing it. Okay, but that's the Clunk and Fist special. You guys look after yourselves, and I'll see you on Sunday.